It's time for another Ask Me Anything video, and today we're talking about parental alienation. We have a question from a survivor who wants to know, what is parental alienation, how does it happen, and why does it happen? So let's get started.
Closed captioning provided by Athena Moberg and CPTSDFoundation.org.
My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what parental alienation really is. We're going to get real specific in the definition here, and especially as it relates to narcissists. The term parental alienation syndrome was first used in the 1980s by a child psychiatrist named Richard Gardner, and it happens when basically one parent tries to turn the children against the other parent. So if a parent is angry at the spouse or ex-spouse, they basically create a negative perception of the other parent through comments that put them down, blame, false accusations, things like this, often shared with the children, sometimes directly, sometimes more subtly. Sometimes they do everything they can to prevent the other parent from even seeing the children, but the children very often don't know this. In most cases, the alienating parent will usually show both narcissistic and borderline tendencies. Let's dig into that a little bit. Parental alienation, also known as parental alienation syndrome, is what happens when an unhealthy parent, such as a narcissist, creates a false alignment with their children in which they teach the children to feel negatively, to be hostile, to reject their other parent, who is usually a non-narcissistic, non-abusive parent. This affects not only the psychological health of the child, but also the psychological health of the other parent. And it can, in some cases, completely ruin the relationship between the child and the non-abusive parent. This is a sort of triangulation that narcissists use with their own children in order to ingratiate themselves with the children and also to alienate or push out the non-narcissistic parent. This sort of front that exists between the narcissist and their children is also a covert type of narcissistic abuse. Next, let's cover why narcissists use parental alienation against us and how they do that. When we're not talking about a narcissist, parental alienation can often be resolved through therapy, where the therapist would ask the offending parent, in this case, to explain the situation to the child and then present a united front with the other parent. This way, despite the fact that the parents might be divorced, the child would have a more healthy perception of both parents and their efforts to raise the child together. But with a narcissist, this isn't possible because narcissists are unwilling or perhaps unable to see that this issue is an issue at all. They don't think it's healthy. They really think that because they are the superior or better parent, at least in their own minds, they deserve loyalty in this situation from their child, and they will make the other parent appear to be the bad guy or bad girl in the situation. Plus, as you may be aware, narcissists are often unwilling to do any sort of cooperative parenting or co-parenting, and this is true even if they do go to therapy. In fact, as many of us have experienced, when we try to go to therapy with a narcissist, this usually backfires. So what exactly happens in the case of parental alienation? Well, the first thing that happens is that the children involved will often become very judgmental of the non-narcissistic parent's behavior, of whether or not they're capable of taking care of the child or children, and whether they're even competent as a person or at least as a parent. Another thing that happens is that the narcissist will get very sneaky. They will push the children away from the other parent emotionally. They will say really mean things about the parent, or at least covertly encourage them to judge the other parent. And in fact, the narcissistic parent in this case will very often reward the kids for behaving this way to the non-narcissistic parent. Another thing that happens, of course, is the narcissistic parent will then pretend to be completely innocent here, and the kids will think that they're acting on their own, like they don't think that the narcissist is actually doing anything to cause this. They will, in some cases, become very protective of the narcissistic parent because they play the victim. In other cases, the narcissistic parent will just directly tell them exaggerated stories and lies about things they say the non-narcissistic parent did wrong. And they may even say something like, but don't be mad, she's your mother or he's your father, but at the same time covertly push them toward alienation of the other parent. What exactly is it that makes this so effective? We find ourselves asking, how exactly is it that they manage to manipulate our children this way when our children know that we love them and we've done nothing wrong? We've only acted in love to our children? How is it that the narcissist is able to convince our children that in fact we are the bad ones in the situation? This comes from the fact that the children are being rewarded for saying or doing angry things in regard to the other parent. The narcissist then will pretend to just understand how they feel, and they'll act compassionate, like they're very concerned, when what really should be done in any healthy situation is that the kids should be taught to respect both parents. But because the children in this case are often gaining newfound acceptance from the narcissist, they will continue to complain because they are being validated by that parent, often for the first time in their lives. And if you grew up with a narcissistic parent or a toxic parent of any sort, then you know that the lack of validation is one of the most painful things a child of a narcissist ever experiences. This makes it almost irresistible for the child to go along with the narcissistic parent's behavior. Because again, for the first time ever, the child is experiencing some sort of partnership or alliance with this parent, and they're getting a newfound validation. And finally, let's talk about exactly what it is that we need to do to try to protect ourselves and our relationships with our children when we're dealing with parental alienation. This is a very difficult subject, and it's not always easy to get through it. If you're a parent who's dealing with parental alienation, or one who has before, chances are you have no idea exactly what happened and why your children turned against you. You might not even know what to do. That's pretty understandable. The other issue is that it might be very difficult or even impossible to take the children out of the narcissist's life, because the fact is that despite what would be ideal, the narcissist technically isn't doing anything against the law at this time. Since this is an issue, you have to be creative. You have to figure out exactly what you can do to get back into your children's lives. If you are someone who is dealing with parental alienation, here are some things that can help you try to create positive change in your life and the lives of your children. The first thing you can do is recognize that there isn't a whole lot you can do about the narcissists themselves. We know that we can only change ourselves, and it's important to remember this during this time. So do what you can to correct your own behaviors or modify them to make things a little bit easier. This might mean that you use the gray rock method to avoid oversharing your emotions with the narcissist and to stay calm when your children are disobeying or disrespecting you. It's really important that you don't feed into the negativity. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you're proactive. So don't just assume the problem will go away on its own, because if we're talking about narcissists and parental alienation, chances are it's only going to get worse. Remember to be strong in your parenting. Don't just allow your children to treat you the way they've treated you, no matter how difficult it feels or no matter how angry they seem. You've got to find ways to connect with them every day, no matter what, even if they don't want you to do that. You can text them, you can call them, you can speak to them directly, give them hugs when you see them, do whatever you can to attach to them or connect with them on a really healthy level. You want to make sure that you show stability in your parenting and in yourself. Be as consistent as you can, as firm and direct as you can, even if you don't feel exactly consistent or stable or firm. Pretend like you do, at least around your kids. They need to know that they can count on you. If you have any power at all in this situation, do what you can to find a therapist who will understand your situation, who has experience with parental alienation, and take you and your children to the therapist for sessions. This can help on so many different levels, and often a therapist is going to be able to explain to the kids things that might escape you a little bit. They have a different kind of understanding here. Make sure that you're seeing a therapist who is trauma informed. Think about the fact that narcissists are very similar to cult leaders. Take a look at the video I'm going to link for you right here. But remember that parental alienation is actually a form of brainwashing. So you're going to use the same types of strategies that one would use to help people leave a cult. You also need to take really good care of yourself during this time. Do things that are good for you, do things that make you happy, do things that help you become stronger in yourself. Just like on an airplane, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, if you feel what I mean. Now, if your children continue to disobey you, disrespect you, judge you, whatever, make sure you're not begging them or groveling in order to get them to change their opinion. You don't want them to think that you're threatened, and you don't want them to see that they have any sort of power over you in this way. You have to be strong. I know it's very difficult. Remember that if the narcissist teaches your kids or even encourages them to disobey or disrespect you, you must make sure they're doing what you request. You have to hold your ground. You can start with we don't tolerate disrespectful behavior in our home, and go from there. Something that would be really helpful is to develop certain phrases that you use with your kids that you're able to say automatically in moments when things get really difficult. This again will help with consistency, and it will also help them over time to change their behavior. Stay calm when your kids are around as much as you can. Try not to be too negative. Laugh with them, have fun with them. Make it easy to be around you. This sounds like a weird thing I'm about to say, but remember that you can be one step ahead of the narcissist. Just keep your eye on what's happening and be aware. Be determined to keep these kids in your life. Don't allow this abuser to destroy this relationship. The relationship between you and your children can be one of the most important relationships in both your life and the lives of your children. Make sure that you know what you're doing and that you're learning more and more every day. You're doing that right now by watching this video. You don't ever want to stop arming yourself with knowledge. And while you're at it, make sure that you teach your kids as much as you can, at least on an age-appropriate level, about what they're dealing with. One last thing you can do is to join a support group that will help you deal with this as you're literally sort of battling for the love of your children. You should never have to battle for your children's love, but since the narcissist has caused this, this is exactly the position that you're in. A support group can really help you get through this because not only will they understand your position and understand how you're feeling, but they might even have some great advice to offer you. I would invite you to join the Spanalese support group for co-parenting with a narcissist. You can learn more about that at queenbeing.com/group-support. Overall, you have to realize that this is a form of psychological manipulation that involves both you and your children. And while it might seem like they are directly treating you this way, you have to remember your ex or soon-to-be ex narcissist has brainwashed them to respond to you in these horrible ways, because the children are being rewarded by the narcissist by having some sort of fake interpersonal relationship with this person who has so far up to this point probably not validated them at all. And the children in the situation will often see that parent as not only more powerful, but in some cases even more desirable, simply because they are finally giving them that love bombing treatment that they have wanted all along. Bottom line, sometimes you're going to have to accept the situation for what it is. When you've done and said all you can to make it better, you have to move in a different direction. If you'd like me to talk about that in a future video, leave me a comment below and let me know. All right, now this brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, have you dealt with parental alienation, or do you know someone who has? And what was your experience like? How did you manage? Also, if you have any tips that you can share with our fellow survivors, please leave them in the comments below, because this issue is so painful and difficult for everyone who goes through it. And maybe you can help one survivor reconnect with their own children. Share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your experiences in the comment section below, and let's talk about it. If you want to learn more, make sure you take a look at the video I'm leaving for you right there, and it will give you so much more information about this. Before I go, I want to offer a quick shout out and a big thank you to all of my channel members, those people who support me through the YouTube membership program. You are awesome and amazing, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to show you their names right here. And I just want to say again a big thank you to each and every one of you. With your help, I'm able to continue to provide free daily video coaching, free resources at queenbeing.com, free videos like this one to help people get through the hard times, discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships, and to evolve to the next level of their life. Thank you so much. Sincerely, it means the world to me, and it is my mission in life. Thank you. Again, I just want to say to my inner circle, thank you so much for hitting that join button. It really does mean a lot to me to know that you're supporting me. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart. And to you who's watching my video right now, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing my video. It helps me. Every action helps me to do just a little more for this community, and it means everything to me. Again, thanks so much. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Make sure you take a look at the videos I'm leaving for you right there and right there. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button right over there so we can stay connected and continue on this healing journey together. I'll see you soon.